Hey guys, it's Chris back here again from Huckabones Equipment. Today, as you can see behind me, we're going to be talking about zero turns. It's not going to be a great in-depth video. It's just going to kind of give you an overview of most of the Kubota lineup. If we are to go in-depth on them, we would be looking at a couple hours of video here because there's about 30 different models, and today we have about 8 selected to kind of go over a little bit. So we'll be going right from the entry level that's right beside me right up to the big diesels. So stay with us and enjoy the video, and we'll get started. So we're going to start today talking about the Z122R Kubota gas model unit. It's a 42-inch cut with a 22 horsepower Kawasaki on it. As you can see, it's a zero turn. What makes it entry level and kind of keeps the cost down is it is belt driven, but it's nice, simple, easy to use. It's got, you know, your 3-year warranty on it. Some of the drawbacks to it is it's made mostly to cut, you know, your 1 to 2 acres. It's not a very comfortable seat on it, but outside of that, if you are cutting your 1 to 2 acres, you're probably only going to be cutting for about 45 minutes because it's still a very quick unit. There's no drawback that way. You know, it does the job and it's going to do it for quite a long time. It's got lots of access points, which all the gas ones do. You'll be able to lift the seat and get underneath to the fully adjustable arm bars. So whether you're 5'5" or 6'5", these arms are adjustable to make them very comfortable for yourself. Under there, it's powered by 2 hydrostatic transmissions. So it's a very simplistic system on it to make it nice and powerful for you and nice and easy to use. Whenever you're going to be adjusting your cutting height, you'll be just sitting on it, and there's a push pedal right at the bottom that you lift up on. Adjust your cutting height from 1 inch up to 4 inch, and then just let it back down to cut as needed. It's got the choke system, separate choke system, which is handy. It has electric PTO on it, and then your hand throttle. So, and then some of the options that are available for it, if you feel like cutting in the middle of the night, you are able to get the LED lights here. Is it needed? Not really, but some people do enjoy cutting at 9-10 o'clock in the summer. So. One other thing to mention on it is the size of the tires. You'll see that comparable to the other ones beside us is they do have a smaller rear tire on it as well as a smaller front tire. It is kind of a drawback if you do have a kind of a bumpier lawn. If you're more in an urban area with in that 1 to 2 acre cut, it works great on the smaller lawns. So the next ones we're going to be talking about are our 2 most popular units is a Z122E, which is the economy model of the 100 series, and as well as we also have the Z121S. So I'm going to talk to you about the major differences between the two. So they're both a 48-inch cut, and you'll see whenever we're doing side-by-side shots, you'll see that one doesn't have lights on the front as well as suspension seat, and then your engines change. On the 122, we have the Briggs & Stratton 22 horsepower, and on the 121S, we have the Kohler 21 horsepower. After that, then we don't see too many differences in it. Whenever we're dealing with a customer who has 3 to 5 acres to cut, this is the units we're going to recommend for you. With the E series, you are able to get as options the LED lights and the suspension seat, but of course once you add those on, you're up to more money than what the 121S is going to be. Most of our customers we deal with in the 48-inch because speed-wise, if you're cutting up to that 5 acres, and it's open, the 54-inch will save you a little bit of time. If you're going in and around trees and lots of other obstacles, you'll find that the 48-inch will get you in and out of those a lot better than a 54-inch. And then time-wise, when comparing your cut to a 48 to a 54, obviously it's 6 inches, but over a full course of 5 acres, it may only save you about 20 minutes, if that even. So it all comes down to the customer, how open their yard is to cut. On the 121S, we have the suspension seat. It comes standard with it. It's a quick dial system on it to either soften it or harden it. And then same idea as the other one we were showing you. It has the quick lift system on the front and the dial system to adjust your cutting height. The difference is, other than the engine, lights, and suspension seat, the cut is going to be the exact same. Again, we sell about 10 to 1. We sell about, the S model sells about 10 to 1 just because most people do enjoy that suspension seat. At the end of the day, it's a little bit more comfortable, and whenever you break it down to a monthly payment, you're only a few dollars more. So yeah, but it's nice to have that option. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the Z400 series. So it goes from a 48-inch cut on the Z411 up to a 54 or 60-inch on the 421. So the engine horsepower ranges from 22 horsepower up to 25, depending on the model. Some of the nice differences about the Z400 whenever you're talking up to different people, it's kind of a commercial beginnings of a Kubota. You'll start seeing a much bigger tire on the rear and front, and some easy access points that make it a very enjoyable unit for the commercial operator as well as the residential. For the average customer, you're going to be wanting to be cutting around the 5 acres to be in the 400 series, but it's up to the customer too what they're looking for, because as you start seeing, the comfort level on these 400s is through the roof with a big comfortable seat. You can even add a suspension seat to, well, it's like a lazy boy then, you never want to get off. So for the residential or commercial use, this is a good middle ground to be in between the Z100 series and before we get to the diesels. It keeps the cost down, but for longevity of the unit, it's still there. So and like I've already mentioned, the comfort level is very high. I'll demonstrate now some of the access points on the deck that make life quite simple for cleaning it out. So it's an easy to remove plate on here that gives you complete access to the pulleys. So if you want to clean out underneath after every cut or once a month, whatever kind of suits. So while sitting on it, again, the same sort of lift as the Z100 series, just a bigger platform with it for your foot. Again, you just lift up, turn your dial, and let down again. You can cut from 1 to 4.5 inches. And just like the Z100 series, you're able to get complete access underneath for the adjustability. Just like the Z100 series, you have complete access to adjust your control arms on it. Whether you're, again, it doesn't matter how short or how tall, Kubota will make you comfortable on the Z400. So we have the Z421 60-inch in this comparable with the with the 48-inch and the 54. This one we've had a few options for display to give people an idea of what is available on them. So you can see up top we have the LED lights, and below here we have the maintenance lift kit. So you're able to without having another piece of equipment lifted up to get access underneath to either change your blades or clean out your mower deck. It's a nice, easy to use system, tucks away obviously whenever you're not using it. It does not interfere with your visibility out front, which is very handy whenever you get into those tight areas in and around flower beds. And also, speaking of flower beds, Kubota has this great system called the OCDC kit, which gives you the availability of closing the system off whenever you're dealing with flower beds and paths. It works kind of like a brake system on a bicycle, where you're able to open and close a blade down below. So whenever you come up to your paths, you're able to close off the system so it doesn't spray it all full of grass. So it saves your work later whenever you have the chore of sweeping out or raking out your garden beds. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the big boys, the big bad diesels. So Kubota has 3 levels of diesel. Again, we're not going to get too in depth on it because there is a lot of different models here available with different cutting widths. So in the 1000 series, we have a 48, 54, and 60, and it either has a model of a Z1021 or a Z1011. Again, the differences between the 3 basically just boil down to the horsepower, which is it ranges in from 21 to 23, and the cutting width of 48 up to 60. Again, you're going to have a deluxe high back seat on it as well. Now you're going to get into the hydraulic lifts. So to adjust your cutting height, you just pull back on a lever and adjust your cutting height. Very simple and easy. Now you're into your shaft driven as well. So you know, if it's pouring rain, you want to go out and cut some grass, or just afterwards, knock yourself out. It's going to tear through it. Doesn't matter if it's a foot high. It's going to come out looking manicured. It's one of the many benefits of having a diesel, is it just goes and goes and goes and doesn't bog down no matter what the conditions are. Some of the benefits of a diesel give you easy access points for maintenance. You know, you're able to get in right to your pulley system and gearbox, as well as, again, the easy lift on the seat is easy to lift up on in behind and lift the seat up to give you full access to your battery and such underneath. So if you have a bigger lawn in one of the more rural settings, you're going to find a lot of diesels at them, because again, you can cut as much or as little as you like. You know, they're capable of cutting easily 10 acres in a day. So you'll see quite a few on the landscapers and the commercial end of stuff. And if you're going full commercial, where it's just strictly commercial, you're going to probably look at the 1200 series, where again, now you're going to see quite a bigger frame size to it, and a bigger engine, as well as they come standard with a maintenance kit to them to get the front end up, to get underneath, and to get access to your blades. Some of the other benefits of the 1200 series is whenever you get to the gauge wheels on it, you're able to adjust the height on them, whereas it's always welded on the other ones. It gives you, again, a little bit more of a better feel to your cut, especially on the commercial end where customer satisfaction is #1. So you're always looking at that. Again, on the 1200 series, you now have the option of going up to a 72-inch deck, which is unavailable in any of the other models. One of the other benefits too is your displays, LED display. It's going to tell you everything you need to know about the machine and what's going on with it. One of the added benefits for the commercial units for the diesels is the tie downs. They come standard with tie downs on the back, so that easily transport between lawns and customers. Makes it easy to get down. And then obviously, as we talked about, you're getting into the diesel engines. So they're fully Kubota engines. They're not made by anybody else. So the Kubota diesels are all Kubota diesel engines in them, as well as their hydrostats. So it's not a separate company or anything like that. So that's one of the added benefits of dealing with Kubota on their diesel end, is how comfortable you will be on them, as well as how easy it is to use. You get the full Kubota experience in dealing with just one company. One question we get asked quite often on our zero turns is, how long will they cut? How often will I have to fill up my fuel tank, whether it be gas or diesel? All Kubotas are designed, whether it be the entry-level Z122 up to these bigger diesels, to run a full 8 hours wide open. So for the average person, it all depends what you're cutting. But I can guarantee you, they will last your full working day. In most cases, you're going to be dealing with it filling your tanks every second or third cut. But for the commercial guys, I can guarantee you that you'll be getting a full day's work out of any diesels without having to refill. So this brings us to the end of the video. As you can see from the lineup, we have to kind of cut it short, as to get into all these details would take far too long, but it gives you kind of a general idea of what's available and for what customer each one is looking for. If you leave some comments down below, in the future we can do other videos to narrow down and kind of just talk about the Z100 or the 400 or up into our diesels. So just please leave some comments down below, and hopefully in the future we'll be able to do a video on just those. So thank you very much for watching this video. It's brought to you by Huckabones Equipment, and we hope to see you watch something in the future.